What if the multiple gifts and skills that you have is really not a curse? What if it's actually not a burden to be multi-gifted? The trouble of picking which one I want to do. Maybe you're not actually meant to do one thing. Welcome to the multipliers. This show was created for people who are multi-gifted, multi-talented, multi-skillful, and you struggle with choosing the one thing that leads to the many things. And maybe like me, some of you guys coming from a big background of believing in God and you were raised in church, but you still struggle not only just finding faith, but struggle with putting in the action to figure out maybe what that one thing is that you bring to your community, to your marketplace, to your family. Many of you who are multipliers are kind of like me, where you're probably the pioneer, the trendsetter, the one that's going to make the difference in the family, the one who did the thing that wasn't normal. You didn't go to school, maybe you didn't finish school, or maybe you did go to school for the first time and you were the first person. And now what? How do I discover the more for my life? This is what this podcast is all about. I just want to start with that form of releasing you and inviting you into this environment where it's safe to have a lot of things in a basket. It's safe to wear a lot of hats. It's okay to be multi-passionate, big vision, long range. Like you start big vision, you start at 30,000 feet and then you come down here with everybody else. But sometimes it may look scary because we live so far up there in our own heads, in our own clouds, creating our own pictures, designing our own lives, that when it comes to making it realistic, it's hard to choose one where to start and where we're actually really going to end at. I know I've faced that trouble many times in my life, growing up as a kid, into my teenager years, into my adulthood. But I learned to go back to curiosity. When I was 5 years old, I can remember like it was yesterday. My grandmother, who has been a spiritual pastor to our family our entire life, she loved making these big Christmas and Easter baskets. Y'all remember in the 90s when families, when your mom and everybody would just go all out, big dinners for every holiday, and they would make these big, beautiful baskets. Well, one of those big, beautiful baskets I used to have in Easter, there was candy, of course. There were some eggs, those little Easter bunnies, some that were chocolate, some that were, I believe, marshmallow. And mine, this will date me a little bit too, was a VHS tape. Now, for some of you guys born in 2000s, a VHS tape was a video cassette tape. I don't even know what the H and the S means. I'm just going to guess that the V means video. But you would take this big piece of plastic and put it inside of a device, and that's how you would watch what you would call Netflix nowadays. I'll tell you about the Walkman and the CD player later. This VH tape changed my life. On that VH tape was a multiple, it was like a little mixtape of different cartoons. I just happened to get this cartoon that was named Little Johnny Everything. Little Johnny Everything. He can do and be most anything. If he'll just make believe and sing, he's Little Johnny Everything. And on this tape, you will see Little Johnny become multiple different things. One moment he's a firefighter. One moment he's a handyman. Second moment he's a basketball player. Next moment he's a pilot. And I guess without the correct parental guidance, I just started to believe Little Johnny. I just started to sing and make believe that I could be anything. And nobody stopped me. Nobody come to help me and say, hey, pick one thing, or hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? I never heard those words. So, hey, who do you want to be? I just always heard Little Johnny. And me and Johnny agree that we can be anything. So I was that kid who grew up in my room, who, if you walked in at any moment, you thought you walked into a random museum of VCRs been taken apart and RC cars taken apart, big screen TVs. Y'all know the big projection screens, pretty much you can almost live in. I used to take them apart, and computers. I loved falling in love with PCB boards and technology. I'm like, oh my God, like This is amazing. I love taking things apart and putting them back together. At the same time, my creative interest sparked when I was probably around 7 or 8 from the beats of pens and pads and pots trying to be Timberland. Timberland sparked my musical interest in becoming a music producer. So you would walk in, you see all these parts, but then you see all these computer parts with all these hard drives that led to all these stacks of CDs and mixtapes and samples, record players, the whole thing. So I lived in a very optimistic world, even without parents around. My father was absent. My mother was working 2 jobs and serving the ministry that she just devoted her life to. So I was really left to me in my room and my mind and own ideas majority of the time. And I used to think growing up, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, not fully knowing that I had everything because I had room to imagine. That completely changed me. And for some of you multipliers out here, you got this way for a reason. Maybe because you got to live in a ultra open universe of curiosity and creativity. Maybe you had good parents who took you to ballets and museums. Like I get to take my homeschool spoiled children all around the country to be able to see new things and do new things. And hey, yeah, pick up that guitar. Hey, yeah, learn this thing, learn Rubik's Cube, learn yo-yo. Some of you guys learn the hard way because you had to. No one else is going to teach you. No one else is going to get it for you. So you have to go and get it. That's a little bit of my story. I got all the hand-me-downs. I remember going over to a friend's house and go, ooh, wait, your dad hey, what are you going to do with that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Hey, you can take anything and make something out of it. You can almost take nothing and make something out of it. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the person who's so highly gifted, so skillful and talented. And I'm not just talking at a beginner level. I'm not even really at an intermediate level. I'm talking about at a professional level where people pay you to do what you do. You may be a musician who plays in different cover bands, or you may be on tour. And at the same time you're on tour, you're probably editing a video, you're probably doing social media, you're probably selling real estate. You're probably managing, you're probably doing 3 to 4 other different things. So it feels like you're paying the bills, but really you're developing skills. You're utilizing time to dive into your curiosity and solve problems and create value for people. That was me. But even growing up in this faith-filled church community, one thing that I started to really notice, even being in church, which I think is one of the greatest things any human can be in. And one caveat you just got to know is they're people. You're always dealing with people. A lot of people leave church with hurt and questions and confusing, but you got to remember you're learning from people. But what I take from it is the experience to have access. I had access. Tom, what do you mean? I got to play in the band. I got to be in the sound booth. I got to learn lighting gear, video production, all types of things, even being able to lead kids and change their lives for the better, and then play basketball and then play video games because I didn't have it at my house. I didn't grow up with that access and privilege, but there were other tools and resources in my community that I just took advantage of. And sometimes growing up in these type of areas, especially a faithful area, you grow up believing in a God who created all the things, who this big universe belongs to. He's the owner, he's the designer. We're the managers, we're the tenants. And we watched this God do all the things, and we prayed to him to do all the things. I need you to lean in for a second because it's going to get real quick. We prayed to this guy who does all the things. We watched him do all the things, and I watched a lot of people in my life wait for God to do the next thing. They didn't produce. They didn't create a business plan or a pitch deck. They waited on God, which I understand some things are out of human control. But what I do know about God is if he's our ultimate creator and he created the created, we're also meant to create. In the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, you'll hear this I think one of the most famous lines ever written, recorded, recited by man is, in the beginning, God created. God created. That's the first line of this book that a lot of us take seriously, and most of us don't even know. But I know at least one line in the Bible says, in the beginning, God created. And if we come from this God who created all of this stuff, this big, this beautiful, this confusing, this optimistic, this speechless world, then I too can create something. But listening to that and seeing it play out in church among faithful people who will show up, I learned to split the difference between those who believed and who were Christians versus those who were faith-filled, and actionable. And it was rare to see until I started to hang around with certain different friends of mine who not only were involved with church, but were extremely talented at young ages, extremely ambitious about the Timberland music that I was into, or learning the ropes and learning music at a different level, where we would stay up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, not knowing that we were developing, hustling, grinding our way into mastery. We didn't even know it because it just felt like fun. There's a level of curiosity to the multi-talented and multi-gifted and multi-skillful person that when you're in the zone, AKA some of us will call it flow, you lose track of all time. You lose track of daylight. You are a foodie and you have not eaten in 16 hours. That person I'm talking to you right now, but also that person I want to re-spark who comes from that background where you believe for God to do X, Y, Z. You also have faith, and you bought the shirt, you bought the hat, you got the bandana, you got the socks, you got the shades. Says I'm faithful or God is good, but you have no fruit, but you're multi-talented, but you're not putting in the right action. You're not partnering with the right people. You're not partnering with the right people. I want to show you what that looks like to close that gap on being and having faith to having action. And I say that because I'm coming to you right now with the faith that, man, maybe somebody who's multi-talented, multi-gifted, multi-skillful will be listening to this, and all the thoughts that they've thought before in their lives of, even right now, like, man, I could do this, I could do that. I could do a lot, but what should I do? A lot of us have a hard time figuring out what we should do to where we don't do anything at all. And we lose hope, we lose faith, we lose all action. But I want to help guide us for those who have much and have many, but you don't know where to go or who's going to use it. It's like having a orchard field of oranges or apples or peaches like my friend Kyle does, and not knowing where to go sell it, not knowing what market to go to. And after a while, you start to feel like what has been given to you, what you've worked so hard for, is starting to rot a little bit. It's starting to get daunting and become a hassle, the grind of like laboring, and there's something there, but it's not going anywhere. It's not getting anywhere. No one can benefit off of that. I want to help you on the show to where not only are you fruitful and seedful, but you're multipliable, where people are coming to you for your fruit. People are DMing you, hey, I need to talk to you. How are you doing this? Or how much do you charge for this? Or wait a second, you do this differently. I never heard it like that before. And what I'm talking about is activating not only your faith, but that action. If you're hearing and seeing me right now, you're seeing two major things happening: faith in motion, and you're seeing me do the action. So much so that we have a full team that comes to this office, 4 studios. I have $200,000+ worth of gear and equipment. And I too know what it's like to be faithful, buy the equipment, get the space, and take no action. Not even, you can prepare, you can study, you can get educated, you can get consulting, you can get advice. But until you actually go out there and make the conscious decision that, hey, I'm going to step out on faith, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but knowledge isn't power. Knowledge isn't power until it's applied. And that only comes by wisdom. And so I want to help close that gap with those of us who believe, God, I know there's more for me, or hey, I'm multi-talented, but what do I do next? I want to show you and extract from you the obvious talents, skills, and gifts that you have, but also the hidden ones. Because when you're fully exercising your gifts, skills, and talents, most people stop counting because you're good with what you got. You're settled with what you got until the market hits. Until the market hits. Until the economy hits. Until COVID hits. Then what are you going to do? One of my favorite passages in the Bible, and you're going to hear me quote the Bible a lot. Why? It's why I'm here. But I want to freely give it to you. The prophet Isaiah, it talks about a woman who's in debt, comes to the prophet Isaiah, and she tells him all about her troubles, the issues that she's having. Her husband has passed away. She's left with nothing, but she owes all of this debt. And please quote me if I'm wrong. The prophet says, hey, what do you have in your house? What do you have of value in your own home, in your hand? And she says, nothing much, but I mean, I got this and I have that, but I have this flask of oil. This flask of oil. That's all I had. And this oil was valuable, but there wasn't that much of it. And here's the storyline behind those who believe in God right now, who are multipliers, who are gifted, skillful, and talented. It's time for you to find your jars. The prophet Isaiah told her to go get all the jars that you can find. Go get all the jars. Get your sons, ask your neighbors, find as many as you can. And she obeyed without question, like, hey, that's a little crazy idea. You see what I have. Why would you tell me to go get as many as I can? But she obeyed. She just went out and did it. So as much as they could, they went and brought back all the jars. And as the story goes, as many jars as she could bring unto the prophet Isaiah, the oil never stopped flowing. In fact, it's so crazy that it says the oil didn't stop flowing until she ran out of jars. Now, I don't know how much oil this woman had. It could have been a keg. It's okay. We can say keg on here. It could have been gallons. It could have been a tub. It could have been barrels of oil. But what we do know is the magic didn't start. The anointing didn't start. Let me say it like this for some of you. The value, the opportunities didn't stop flowing until she ran out of places to put it. Some of you guys feel like you're empty, like you're all out. Like, man, this is all I got. I'm here to tell you that there's more. And I want to help you uncover the jars that God has placed in your life. They may come in the form of skills. It may come in the form of different gifts you have. But it may come in the form of the way you think, the way you love people, how hospitable you are, how mathematical you are, how technical you are, how media and photo and video centric that you are. It may also mean it's in the way that you create value for people in ways that they can't help themselves or other people. Maybe that's the magic sauce that you need to reignite. A lot of people will hide our jars because we don't want to be known for that. We don't want to do that. Well, I live in America, and I can tell you I've seen some stuff that make me rejudge my whole life, make me rethink who God is, make me rethink everything. But I can tell you the oil never stopped flowing. The oil never stopped flowing because I always had my jars out. And in one season when something wasn't happening or popping off, oil would just sprout up out of nowhere in another area because I decided to give all of my skills, gifts, and talents to God because I was so gifted, so multi-talented. And let me pause it right here for a second. And you may not like me, but I want you to get used to being this confident, not cocky. I want you to get used to being this confident and not cocky. You hear me? Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. I just thought about what's about to happen right now because your life is getting ready to change. Like you can't unhear this. I am extremely talented. I'm extremely gifted. I am very, very, very skillful at a lot of different things. Actually, at many different things. Actually, at anything I set my mind to, I become really good at it. So much so, I've seen 5 to 6 figures on everything I thought of, everything I just pursued, not knowing that I was creating value, not knowing that I was even an entrepreneur, not knowing that I was becoming a founder. I just was still curious. I was just still optimistic. And when I learned what an entrepreneur was, when I learned what bootstrapping was, which I didn't know what bootstrapping was till like a year ago, I just thought everybody invested. Everybody doesn't do that. Some people go get a C round. Some people quit. Some people really give up. Some people lose hope. But when you know what you got, when you know the value of it, no one else can break that value. No one else can put a price tag on who you are. Now you can be confirmed by the market. You don't want to overprice yourself or you'll lose some negotiations, but the market will confirm your value when you bring it and present it. And every time I brought my value to the market since I was 19, I'm 39 now, getting ready to be 40 next month. I've only seen the goodness of God because I've decided to park my jars in front of him and say, hey, you fill it. You send them. I'm telling you the truth. And it wasn't perfect. I'm still growing and learning every day. I tell most people, I think I took the scenic route to entrepreneurship because the way I've taken it is just it's not conventional. It's not even traditional. It's spirit and kingdom led. I honestly believe that. And because of that, because I took the long road, not even knowing I was taking the long road, but I was walking with God. I was learning people, learning character, learning integrity, learning all these things that you can't learn in a school, which I didn't even graduate high school. I left with a 1.9 GPA. I didn't even know what a GPA was till I met my wife. I didn't even question it, but I used to show up with 2 laptops. I used to learn music and contracts at the same time. And straight out of high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I was blessed to do it and be around the best to do it and travel this entire country, almost 50 states, at least 47, 48. And I've been in multiple continents, being able to do the thing I love to do, passionate to do, and the thing that people needed to do. Now I'm in an industry where I can serve people based on my skills and what I know visually, consulting, branding, media, and now tech, because your boy is releasing some crazy apps y'all will download that I'm really excited to bring to the market because I think it can help you tell your story, tell your life a little bit better. By the time this really drops, I need you to go check out storyu.ai. I need you to check that out. We need some people to test it. Let us know, but it's meant to help you tell your stories. I'm going to give you that pitch later, but I want you to be able to hone in on your value because you do have a story to tell with that. Just like I'm telling you my story. And it was gifted to me. So everything that I'm telling and showing you now was a gift. It was given to me. There's probably about 30 people sitting here talking to you, mentors, instructors, by the wayers, on the bus, the Ubers that I've been able to learn from and develop some other skill, gifts, and talents that I didn't know was valuable until I started to do this thing. I started to count differently. I started recognizing some things that people would call on or ask me about that I didn't know I was just naturally doing. But I'm like, wait a second. I'm in more meetings than I am behind the camera. I'm behind the console. I'm behind the computer. Like, what? Wait, let me pay attention to the questions they're asking me and how I'm able to solve or find the right people to help them along this journey. It's crazy when you become valuable without touching or leaving the bed, leaving your home. Like the atmosphere just changes. Some of you guys are gifted in ways, talented in ways you cannot imagine. And it really stems from the thing that you've been doing your entire life. That thing that people, the thing that people recognize you for, that you overlook, that you go, oh, that, I've been doing that forever. Man, I eat, breathe, and sleep that. That's, wait a second, what is that? What is that? What is what is that thing that you do so effortless that you don't even charge? You call it helping. You call it lending a hand. I'll call it serving. I'll call put a value to it and let it overflow into other people's life because you're the trendsetter. You're the pioneer. You're the way maker. You're the founder. You're the entrepreneur who took the risk on curiosity. You took the risk on imagination, saying to yourself, there's got to be another way. I'm sharing thoughts. I know y'all have. There's got to be another way. There's got to be more. And I can do it. Or I know somebody who can. Or God help me figure this thing out. I want to set this foundation and platform for those who think, for those who are curious, for those who are finding new ways to be valuable in an ever-changing market. And it keeps changing. Welcome AI. It's getting ready to change again. What are you going to do? Who are you going to be? How are you going to show up in the marketplace? Because on the Multipliers podcast, I really want to help multipliers multiply what matters. Let me say it again. I really want to help multipliers multiply what actually matters. Not just to them, because what you can multiply may not be your passion. It may not be the thing that you hoped, but it may be the thing that they need. I once heard that money usually exchanges hands when problems are solved. Let me say it again. Money usually exchanges hands for value when a problem is solved. Now think about all the problems you solved as a multiplier. The band you play, the painting you painted, the client you consulted with, the team, the branding, the social media, the video, the views, the virality. Think about the size of it. Now, if you're solving small problems, well, you get a nice, sizable, small check. If you are solving mid-sized problems, then you're doing pretty good. But if you're solving big problems, one at a time with people and partnering with other brains and you sitting pretty good, or you're helping other people. One of my favorite, and this is part of my creeds, and I'm going to give you two things before we turn this off. And I can't help it, but Zig Ziglar. If you don't know who Zig Ziglar is, Earl Nightingale or Napoleon Hill, stop this. Go watch as much video and read as much books as you can on these three people. There's more. Miles Monroe. There's more. Les Brown. There's more. Ed Milet. Like, there's a lot more. Dennis Kimbrough. There's a lot more. Zig Ziglar says, you'll get what you want in life if you help enough people get what they want in life. Let me say it again. You'll get what you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. You'll get it. I'm telling you the truth. I get it. The other thing I want to leave you with is something that completely changed me when God gave me my own vision. When I said, hey, God, I'm extremely gifted. I'm extremely talented. I don't know what to do next. I don't know who to serve next. I personally felt the creator who created me to create say, I got you. Just keep working. And I developed this creed for my family and I that says, we create value for people and in ideas. We create value in people and in ideas. So when it comes to people and ideas, that's where we create value. And that's why I'm coming to you now on the Multipliers podcast, because I believe you're too valuable, you're too talented, you're overly gifted, and you have a place now to be able to get the mentorship, to get the insight, to get the idea, to get the framework, to get the next steps on what that looks like in your world and your society, and help you pivot to becoming valuable now so that you can multiply what matters.